everyone, I am Julie. I am a penny saving mama. Yes, I save pennies. We're not into quick fixes over here. We're just into slow and steady wins the race, right? A penny saved is a penny earned. So that's what we're trying to do. One of the ways that I'm able to save those pennies, and one of the ways that I'm able to really control the money coming in, is by budgeting. I don't know if you guys have seen any of my other videos yet. Hey, buddy. Um, but most of what I've done so far is around food. That is what I'm purchasing the most. So that is what I feel I have the most tips, I guess, on ways to save money. So just a little background for those of you that don't know. If you're new here, welcome. Um, we have a family of four, and my weekly grocery budget is $80. That includes food, meals, of course, food, meals, snacks. It includes, if we're at the ballpark, any kind of concessions. It includes going out to eat. It includes special dinners. It includes, anything food wise. $80 a week for a family of four. Have a teenager and a preteen, and my husband. So sorry about this light. First of all, let me just say, we work with what we have over here. This is what happens when you are a penny pincher. You use what you have. My tripod, I have a tripod, haven't gotten it all figured out yet. Haven't been able to get the phone to fit on it yet. So right now my tripod is packages of rolls for Thanksgiving, and my light is not a spotlight. It's literally just the light above the table. So I'm trying to stay in the little circle. Anyway, so family of four, $80 a week. Grocery prices right now are astronomical, okay? It is a challenge even for me, and for years my budget was $60 a week. It, the, I increased it to $80 probably a year ago, and it's getting harder and harder to stay in that $80 balance. I'll be completely honest. But when I see and I hear people say, man, I'm spending every week, I'm spending $200, $300, $500. Also, my food budget is just for food. It is not for household products. It is not for any of that stuff. That is in a separate lump of money. Okay. And I know a lot of those higher bills of $300, $400, $500 a week is more than just groceries. I also know that locale is huge. Where you live, how expensive it is where you live, the accessibility to cheaper foods or fresh foods or any of that stuff. Everyone's situation is different. So really what I wanted to do is just share some hints and things that I do to make staying in $80 very reasonable. It is getting more of a challenge, but I still do it. Okay. The list that I'm giving is not an end all be all. If you guys have extra ideas, if you have additional things, if you've tried stuff that's different, opposite of what I've done, and it's worked for you, let me know. Share it. This is just to put information out. This is not saying do it Julie's way. Like I said, everyone's situation is different. So please, this is just to get the conversation going. And if you find a couple things that I say that might help, great. Try it out. You know what? At this point, I mean, in this economy, what's it going to hurt to try any of these? Anything that could help a little bit is going to help. And we need to be thinking about day by day things we can do to improve our situation, because our situations are, it appears, are just going to get harder and harder. So if you're watching this and you're not having any issues with budgeting for food, if you're not having any issues with the amount of money you spend, you may still want to save for a rainy day, because you never know when the tides are going to turn and it will affect you. So plan now for later. Okay? So these are just 10 things. There's way more out there. There's way more ideas. There's way probably better ideas, honestly. But this is just what we have. So this is what I'll share. Number one, when you go to the store, you need to weigh your want versus your need. You're going to the store to feed yourself. You're going to the store to feed your family. Do you want that bag of chips and salsa, or do you need that bag of chips and salsa? Um, do you want the strawberries? Do you need the strawberries? Well, you're going to need fruits and vegetables. Well, what about the little Debbie's? What about the cookies? What about this? What about the frozen burritos? Weigh the want versus need. Only purchase the need. Does that mean I only purchase the need all the time? No, 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 no. But if my budget is so tight that I have this amount to feed my family and that's all I have, I am going to make sure my family is fed before I spend anything else on trivial stuff. Okay? So only buy what you need. Try it for a few weeks and see how it goes, see how much you can save from it, and you can put that money back for something else or for increased grocery prices later, right? So, number one, buy what you need, not necessarily what you want. Number two, use cash. I have $80 a week for groceries. Usually, what I'll do is I'll take $60 into the store. I try, I'm not always successful, I try to save the rest of it for a nice dinner, um, for to save up to eat out, or whatever. So I try to only spend around $60 and then save the rest. That's not always feasible, but use cash. If you are receiving like public assistance, if you're receiving EBT, SNAP, then you get it, at least here where I live, you get it once a month. So take your total, the money that you get, the total, and divide it by 4 for 4 weeks. So if you get $400 a month on your EBT card, there's 4 weeks in a month. So each week you're going to allocate $100. Don't go spend all $400 at one time. Milk is not going to last a month in your fridge. There are other things that won't last a month. Get 1 week, get 2 weeks at a time if you can only go every couple of weeks. But divide it so you're allocating a certain amount of money for each week. If I know that EBT is supplemental, so if you have other groceries you buy on top of the EBT, so say you have your $400 month EBT, your benefits, and you divide it by 4 weeks, so it's $100 each week, but you're used to spending $150 a week, then the other $50 needs to be cash. Don't put it on a credit card, because then you're tempted to, oh, this is only $5. Oh, this is only $2. It's okay if I go over a little. Every penny that you go over, you're basically putting yourself in a harder position. You're not bettering your situation by going over. It's just one soda. Yeah, that's almost $3. So that's $3 that you could use to better your situation later. Okay? So use cash, and use, if you have EBT, split it into the payments. And then if you add anything to it, make it cash. Okay? Was there something else I was going to say with that? I don't know. Okay. Number 3, kind of touched on this with the want versus need. Buy real food. A few days ago, this past weekend, I showed what I had purchased for the day. I did not go through every item. I had an entire bag full of canned foods. I had a box full of canned foods. I had both my cabinets, which are not big, full of food. My kitchen table was full of food, and the table I'm sitting at now even had food on it. I got so much food for $210, something like that. But I did buy cereal for my kids. We haven't had cereal in weeks. I got my kids cereal. They're home this week. It's easy. But you didn't see frozen foods. You didn't see processed stuff. You didn't see, there was real food in there. It's amazing how much food you can buy when you're buying real food. Okay? Our society is all right now, right now, right now. I gotta have it right now. Instant gratification. I need it right now. I don't have any patience. We need it. I want it. instant, right now. That doesn't really help anybody. And you're eating it just as fast as you're ordering it. So whether you're going fast food, if you're getting frozen stuff out of the freezer, again, am I saying we never do that? No, I'm not saying that. But real food is so much cheaper than the processed stuff. The processed stuff most of the times has little to no nutritional value. If you eat a bag of chips that could be $4, $5, $6 for a bag of chips, you eat the whole bag, you're still hungry. How can you be hungry? You ate a whole bag, family size bag of chips, because there's no nutritional value and your body is still craving nutrition. So not only are you spending more on the junk, you're not satisfied anyway. You're still hungry. So then you eat more. So you're eating more money because the more you eat, the more money you're spending, right? So buy real food that has nutritional value that will sustain you and really fill you up. So little to no nutritional value. It doesn't fill you up. And let's be honest, real food that fills you up is cheaper. So all around, except for the convenience side of it, real food is the way to go. So want versus need, use cash, and if you have assistance, then on your assistance, if it's monthly, divide it into 4 weeks. If it's bi-monthly, then 2 weeks. However it's given out. Buy real food. Number 4, eat leftovers. I don't like leftovers. I don't like to eat the same thing more than twice. Fine. Take it for lunch the next day, and if there's more, put it in the freezer. And then in a week or two, when you want something different, pull it back out. That way, if you have bad food fatigue and you can't, well, you can. If you don't want to eat the same thing every day, you don't have to, and you'd have a different meal in the freezer in a week or two. Well, what if I have 5 people in my family and I only have enough leftovers for like 1 or 2 meals? Why would I freeze that? It's not enough for everybody. No, but it's food. And if you throw it away, you're throwing away money. And the whole point of this is to save money, right? Okay. So, eat leftovers. And then if you have more left than you're going to eat because you feel like, oh no, I can't eat the same thing twice, put it in the freezer and then pull it out in like a week or 2. That's number 4. Number 5, teach kids simple cooking skills. I have not been the best about this, I'll be honest, but my kids can scramble some eggs. My kids can get a knife and they can cut into a bell pepper. They can cut an apple. They can make macaroni and cheese on the stove from a box. The box macaroni and cheese at Aldi is like 58 cents, 59 cents for a box. The little plastic things that you put in the microwave for 1 serving is what, $1.50, $2, something like that. If they're on sale, maybe $1. But that's for 1 serving. My kids can make macaroni and cheese on the stove a whole box, and it's more than 1 serving. It can feed them both. They can also, if we have frozen chicken nuggets or if we have frozen something else, they know how to work the oven, they know how to work the air fryer. So they can make simple things like that, and I don't have to worry about it if they're home and we're not. So just the simple skills, and that will help them in the future as they start trying to cook on their own. Any skills that they learn is a benefit. So not only are you saving money, but your kids are gaining some skills, right? Okay, that was number 5, the cooking skills. Number 6, make a shopping list. I'm not the best about this, I'll be honest. A lot of people will meal plan ahead of time, and there's nothing wrong with this. Okay, this is great. That's why I'm telling you, it's a great idea. They set their meal plan for the week. They shop their pantry, see what they have, see what they need, and then they will go shopping for the items they need for those specific meals for the week. Done. I don't do that. I will shop my pantry. If there's things that I need, I will make a list of things that I need and that I need to, restock. If I need milk, if I need butter, if I need veggies, if I need fruit, whatever, I will do that. I do not do my list of meals for the week. Number 1, let's be honest. If you guys have seen any of my stuff, I don't meal plan for the whole week. I wing it a lot of the times, right? We're just real life over here, okay? This is not the perfect world. This is real life. So a lot of times I go to the stores to find out what has been marked down. What if there's anything that's close to the sell by date, some meat that's marked down, then I will get the cheap stuff, the stuff on sale, and I will build a menu around it. But for the other stuff I need, I make a list because if I go in without a list, I'll just start grabbing everything. Okay? So make a shopping list. Number 7, prep your food ahead of time if you can, and batch cook if you can. So it goes along with those leftovers. Cook on the weekend if you're not working. If you work every day and you don't have time to cook a full meal, heck, you can throw something in the crock pot in the morning. You can throw a roast or some chicken legs or anything into the crock pot with some cut up carrots and onions and potatoes and let it sit in there all day. And there's dinner for the afternoon. And if you're still working at night, the kids could eat, make some rice, teach them how to make rice with those simple cooking skills. And I'm not talking about the microwavable rice. I'm talking about the rice on the stove, unless you have a rice maker. Is so much cheaper than the minute rice. You don't want that. That's more convenience. It's right now. We want our rice in a minute. Make your rice. Teach the kids to make the rice. So there are ways of having a meal ready, even if you don't have a lot of time. If you do have a lot of time on the weekend, heck, make a few meals. That's what I try to do when we're here. I try to make 2 or 3 big meals to get us through the week. Okay? Again, do I always do it? No. When I do it, do I estimate the food correctly? A lot of times I don't. We just do the best we can, right? Okay, that's 7. So prep food ahead of time or batch cook, big amounts. And then, like I said, if you're batch cooking, you can do 1 meal. And if you double the recipe, it's the same amount of work. There's just twice as much food. Then you can put the other one in the freezer for a second meal later. So that's 7. 8, I would say pack your lunch, pack your dinner, pack snacks. We go to the ballpark a lot. We are gone a lot. Just recently, one child had a rehearsal after school. Went and got the child, went to a friend's house. We had an hour and a half before we had to be back at the school for practice. I didn't see the point in driving 30 minutes home just to turn around 20 minutes later and drive 30 minutes back. So we went to a friend's house and I packed both of our dinners and we ate there and they got to hang out with a friend for a little while. Win-win. I saved on gas, I saved on food because I didn't buy anything, and we got a little bit of downtime in between. So all wins. So I take my lunch every day for work, my breakfast, lunch, snacks. And anytime we go somewhere, I try to. We're going to be going on a trip in December, so we'll take snacks for the airplane. Any way that I can supplement things that we can do instead of purchasing, I do. 9, watch sell ads in the loss leaders. There's a couple of stores here that you will see every now and then. I'll buy something in bulk because it's a very good price. And I'll be honest, my husband will attest to this. I have some kind of fear that if I have an empty shelf in the pantry or an empty shelf in the freezer or an empty spot, I will think that, we're going to run out of food and we're going to starve. And we're not. We're nowhere close. And there was some really, really good sales this past weekend that I really wanted to buy, and I didn't. Did you hear that? I didn't. I turned sales down. They had a 40-pound box of wings for $20. There was one store that had a 10-pound tube of ground beef, the 80/20, for like $37. That's less than $4 a pound. When in the world did less than $4 a pound of ground beef seem like not a lot, like a good deal? But it is these days. And I was going to get those, and they had Kaneka sausage, 4 pounds for like $19. That is less than $5 a pound. You can find it online anywhere from $6 to $10 a pound. So less than $5 a pound is good. I resisted. They had Johnsonville kielbasa sausage. Anyway, you get the point. There's a lot of stuff I wanted, but I didn't need it at the time. But when I do need it and I find a good sale, buying in bulk is good. Um, and then the sales ads every Wednesday. This store is on Tuesday. Most stores is on Wednesday. They give you the deals for the week, what markdowns they have, and that kind of stuff. That does not include clearance items that they're just trying to get out of the store. That's why I always go in the store to look. Um, Another one, don't buy extra drinks. You don't need sodas or juice or anything like that. I used to get juice for the kids and I'd mix it with water and make it last longer. Now, most of the time, I mean, if we have a group of people over here, if we have something going on, I might buy, some juices or some sodas or something, Gatorades, whatever. But just on a day to day basis, no. They usually in our house we have water, milk, and coffee. That's what we have. The other is a want. It's not a need. Like I'm saying, all these things that I'm telling you, this is not what we do all the time, but it is most of the time, and it is great ways to save money. I would rather spend money on food to fill my kids' bellies than to put some soda in their systems. Okay, so this is just 10 items that we talked about. I did ask my son. I said, okay, so you know what we do. I said, what do you think? Am I missing anything? Do you have any extra ideas of ways people can save money while grocery shopping? Y'all, he came up with the best one out of all of them. Don't think you have to spend all your money. So if you go into the store with $60 and you have everything on your list and you don't need to get anything else and you've only spent $30, well, then you just save some money. You might want to get one or two things. If you don't have a pantry full of food, if you don't have emergency food, get a couple of items. Some rice or some dry beans or a can of vegetables or something, and start building your emergency stockpile. Just start building the amount of food on the shelves so when you don't have the money for some reason, you'll still have food. Okay, but that's the best advice there is. If don't feel like you have to spend it all, and then you can save it for a rainy day, you can save it for a special occasion. He would say I could spend it on treats for the kids, or whatever. I hope this has helped, but let me know what you think. There are way more ways to save. I know that. I've actually been thinking of more as we go, but I don't want to make this too long. If you have any ideas, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, just let me know. I hope you guys have a great night. I hope this has helped someone in some way. Anyway, you guys have a great night. God bless.